Hello, hello, hello. My name is Groselj. I'm a professional speaker coach. I'm also a member of Toastmasters International because it's an awesome club to be a member of. The biggest international organization for speakers, is it? Yes, it is. And I am recording this video today because what I want to do is I want to take you through what I believe is what they did great through the world champions of public speaking, the first place winners of this competition. So we're gonna watch the video together and I'm going to stop the video and just tell you what I see as a speaker coach, what that is and how you can perhaps like use it in terms of structure, nonverbal communication, tempo, pacing, movement, anything basically that has to do with great public speaking skills. Okay, so I'm gonna be in the little corner here, and of course the winner is gonna be on the screen. And what I'm gonna do is I'm going to play the video and then pause when I have something to say or comment. Okay, this is the first video that I'm doing, so I hope it's gonna be okay. I'm really doing this just live. I don't want to edit it. I'm really lazy like that. I want to just do things live, no editing, no extra hassle. So I hope that you are going to find this enjoyable. Obviously, I watched this one particularly hundreds of times already because this is my favorite one. Okay, so let's just watch him.
Danajaya Hediarachi. I see something. I see something. Danajaya Hediarachi.
Okay, I'm just gonna stop here already. Just to tell you that this video, this winner, is one of my favorite of all times. But there are a couple who come pretty close. But this one I love the most. I think it's the greatest story, the greatest punchline, the best prop. I don't know, maybe it's about the flowers and the women. Perhaps, maybe. Well, it was broken, was it? Anyway, let's Okay, first of all, we have to see the slow tempo walk towards the center of the stage. Now, I really love it when speakers don't rush and when they have that cool, collected presence, just ease of the body, straightness of the spine, nice eye contact. I'm in no rush, his face is saying. And then he takes that one moment of time, the 3 heartbeats that you need to elevate that tension in the room. This is extremely important. 1, 2, 3.
You and I are not very different from this flower.
I love how he smells the flower so that we also get to remember what a flower would smell like.
Just like this flower is unique, you are unique.
Of course, the switching. Just like this flower is unique, you are unique. So waste no time in including the audience into the conversation.
All of us has something special that makes us as beautiful. Do you know what makes you special? Now the answer to that can be a little difficult to find.
I love it here when he takes the narrator's pose. Like, I don't know if you've seen it before, but he was in the center stage and then he walked back, I think about 3 steps. And that to me is describing how in the center stage is like, do you know what makes you special? And then going back. Now there is an answer to this that can be very difficult to find. And that is already like the narrator's perspective. So in that sense, when you are telling the story, when you take a couple steps back and you observe the story from, where you then had your stance, this is very good.
Because sometimes life has a cruel way of picking out your petals, breaking you in two and throwing you into the trash. And when you're broken, it's very difficult to feel special. Mr. Contest Chair, my fellow...
Is extremely important for the theme of the speech, I believe, to be announced and to be, the resonance has to be there, like the umbrella above the story has to be there. So are you special? But sometimes you're broken, so how do you fix that? And we already know what this is going to be about, and then Mr. Conde's chair. So I think this is very important. Some competitors I've seen that they did that too fast. Perhaps they opened with a searching question and straight away they went to Mr. Contest chair. So I think that it's good to have that full, story format, the frame around it before you say hello to your audience, or in a presentation you'd probably introduce yourself as well at that point.
Fellow flowers. I can remember the first time I broke. I was 17 years old. I had already flunked high school.
This is actually interesting. I've observed that fail stories actually work better than win stories. So there's a lot of winners in this competition. There's a lot of competitors as well that have the fail story. So it's a bit like we want to listen to people describe how they've struggled in a humorous way, but also I believe that it kind of catches our attention more than if somebody were to, let's say, take us through the best moments of their life. I don't know why that is. That's a very... I think people resonate with each other strongly through the pain. There is a reason why on the wheel of emotion we only have two emotions that are positive, which is happiness and surprise, and there's other explanations for those as well. But then we have disgust and sadness and anger. What's the other one? That's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's another one. Hate. Is it? I don't know. Anyway, so there's a reason why there's more negative emotions than positive ones. So, yeah, we're kind of built that way.
And managed to get myself arrested. Now,
look at how he says it, like, little fella, you got yourself arrested. I managed to get myself arrested. So it's a bit like, from the ego state of the parent, he is talking to like that little child down there, like, no, hey little boy, you managed to get yourself arrested. I really love that, this duck, like this kind of like, like looking down on, hey little boy, you managed to get yourself arrested. I love it. It's the most perfect tonality and body language together with just a phrase, oh, you managed to get yourself arrested. So brilliantly done.
I wasn't afraid of the cops, but there was one person I was very afraid of, and that was my mama. Raise your hand if you have an emotional mother. Let me see. Put them all together, you get my mom.
I love this one. It's just such a humorous moment. Put them all together, and then how he does the callbacks is just really simple. If you have the chance to have as many callbacks as possible, like, you will see throughout this structure, it is constantly repeating. It's like a song. It has the chorus, it has the line and then the chorus and then the bridge. And then again, the line and then the chorus and the bridge. So it's the verse, the chorus and the bridge. And the thing is that it has to kind of repeat. If it doesn't repeat, it's not as melodic, doesn't really get into your ears as much, doesn't really flow through your system as much, doesn't reach the heart as much. It's like things need to be memorable. And I believe that this constant repetitive structure of constant callbacks and doing the same gestures, all in all, is one of the basic, probably formulas of making it very high at this competition. Has to have some sort of repetition that is well designed, well thought through, and that works, and that you can at least repeat it 3 or 4 times. And what he does is like with each of the structure, the way he introduces mother, father, later on mentor, he would do it in the same structure, and then the same, little movement of like, raise your hand if you have an emotional mother. Well, put them all together and you get my mom. So he does that 3 times throughout the talk, as you will see. And this is really important, that when you're designing the structure of your speech, I think that this is one of the key elements to follow.
I can hear her scream outside the police station. Even the cops were afraid. She came up to me, held the iron bars.
Now, this is an extremely important visual anchoring moment. So he walks towards where the jail cell is and he holds the bars. It doesn't really matter if there are bars, like I haven't been to much jails. To be honest, I've seen a couple of it on television. But I'm guessing that in the old days, they were more like cages, and in the new days, it's probably more like, a room or something, and like the door is there or something like that. So probably wouldn't really see, hold the bars like in the movies. But, people still expect that this is what's it called, like a stereotype. And then you use the stereotype. This is really important. What is the most stereotypical thing you can do to portray someone standing in front of a jail cell? You would have them hold the bars. Yes. Okay, so that's what he does. And it's amazing.
Looked into my eyes, and I saw a tear coming down her face. Now, I've seen my mama cry before, but mothers...
Now observe this. Where he places his hand when he explains about the final third tear, and then the emotional reaction to that.
Cry 3 types of tears. Tears of joy, tears of sorrow, and tears of shame. And when a son...
tears of shame. So we get it. So meaning with the nonverbal action, you actually speak. You say everything with that. And if you can do that, the less you can say, the more you can show, the better.
Son sees a mother cry tears of shame. That's a life-changing moment. She looked at me and said, son, I want you to be a better man. That night, when I drove home, my dad was waiting for me at home.
You notice the change in tonality. So he lowered the registry from mother to dad, so it's not as evident, but it's there. My dad was waiting for me at home.
Now my dad is a cool dad. Raise your hand.
Here is the structure. It's just going to repeat the same way. There is no change. I think that a lot of times speakers, we get to be way creative and want to like introduce the mother this way and then introduce the father another way, because we want to really show how creative and ingenious we are. But this is, I believe, too much work. So making it simple yet powerful is the way to go.
And if you have a cool dad,
he even raises the same hand.
Put them all together, you get my dad.
Now he did do something different here. He now did with the double hand, with both of his hands. Yes, both of his hands.
My dad came up to me and said, son, it's okay. You flunked your exams. You already got arrested. That's fine. You get that from your mother's side.
Lovely bit of humor here. I actually used this on my son once. It was so funny because he had some issues in school, and I was like, you're not studying well, you're not doing great at school. You get that from your dad. Didn't really work that well. He didn't laugh as much as the audience would at this joke, because I think when it's in a real life situation, it's more like you don't really, it's not as funny as if you make a joke out of it. But I love this joke. And here I want you to pay attention on how long the pauses are between, just one sentence and another sentence. he really makes very, very, very short sentences. Although he's explaining a story, it's not a lot. Like there would be, the sentences are very short, descriptive, distinct. He does a lot with the body language, and that's it. And then there's a lot of pause in between for you to reflect upon what was just said. The pauses are quite long with Dhananjaya.
I want you to start working immediately. And I said, okay. So my dad took me to meet one of his friends called Sam. Now, Sam was an accountant who had an...
That said, he just rushed it now. So he rushed the tempo now, like kind of like, oh, so things happened. I want you to start working immediately. And then next we went to Sam, and Sam was an accountant. And I believe this is kind of like, going, like raising the tempo a little bit with the word immediately, and then, but he will cool down in a while.
An accounting firm, and had generously decided to make me his personal assistant. And there he was. He looked like a teddy bear.
See, the pauses came back.
But this man was special. I looked at him, and he looked at me. And then he said the most amazing thing. He said, son, I see something in you, but I don't know what it is. If you decide to work with me, I can help you find that something. And I was like, whoa, that's the first time in my whole life somebody has ever told they see something in me. And I started working for Sam. And every day after work, he used to tell me stories about the world, about history, about culture, about philosophy. And it was much more interesting than what I learned in school. And I discovered I can dream. And I started dreaming, ladies and gentlemen. After 1 year, I went back into high school.
So it's a classic hero's journey, by the way. So this is when he meets the sage. And it is like, one devastating... The hero's journey is... I don't know if you know about the structure of the hero's journey. So this is a very famous structure they use in Hollywood for the most... what's that word? Blockbuster hits, box office hits. Yeah. Anyway, so this is the basic structure of this of the Hollywood movie, the hero's journey. There's also a heroine's journey. So the first there's this breaking moment when something happens that to the hero that they have to change their life. So this was when he got arrested, and then at one point they meet the sage, someone who's going to show them a different way. So then they start, learning, and the journey discovers. So this is what the structure is following.
Completed my exams and went into college. After successfully completing college, I found a great girl, but not a job. I didn't know what I wanted to do.
I actually like that he didn't use the second hand to point, I found a great girl, but not a job. Because it would be too much of a comparison. When you compare with your hand gestures, it's kind of like one object to the next object. So he said, I found a great girl. It was like himself, the eye contact. And I feel this is very nice, considering that we fall in love like soul to soul, looking at each other with the eyes, letting, everything come in, and not just visually, but more like in a sense of connecting through the eyes. I personally believe that the eye contact is an invitation into our soul. So this is, I believe, a great way that he used it to let us show how much he fell in love with his eyes only, using no hand gestures. But then not a job. This is outside of me, right? So I really actually love this nonverbal clue.
With my life. Have you ever had that problem? And when you're lost, it's difficult to feel special. So I went back to my cool dad. And I said, Dad, I feel lost. He said, you are like your mother.
So a nice callback to the mother thing.
So my dad introduced me to this strange club that had a strange name, with strange people talking. On the first meeting, they told me to do something called a table topic. I aced it. But while I was speaking, I see a strange man seated in the back row. Humble, simple. The unfailing quality of kindness in his eyes.
Love this verbalization. What did he say? Unfailing quality of kindness in his eyes. It's really wonderful.
As soon as I finished, he walked up to me, looked me dead straight in the eye, and said, son, I see something in you. But I don't know what it is. If you come here twice a month, maybe we can find that something. And ladies and gentlemen, I discovered I could speak, and I love speaking. And that led me to become a teacher. I know what it's like to not have enough money in your bank account. I know what it's like to worry when the bills start coming in. And sometimes, in the middle of the night, I wake up my beautiful wife and I ask her, honey, why did you marry me? She says, I saw something in you. But I still don't know what it is.
You know, you can make the whole speech just so absolutely amazingly humorous and attractive and hilarious and teasing almost with just this one sentence. I see something in you, but I don't know what it is. And it to this day, it's like my favorite thing. I love how he, did not even mention, I met a girl, but not a job. And then he went solve that job situation with Toastmasters. And in between, obviously they had a relationship, they got married, maybe even had children. And the thing is that he just said that, so ask my wife. He didn't say like later on we got married with my, no, there's no narration needed for you to be able to follow the story. Just like in a movie, you would just open with the scene and let the audience pick up, oh, this is what's happening now. Because the human brain is actually our imagination is so powerful. And what we love to do is to discover things on our own. Like, I used to be a film critic, and this was my first job, actually. I worked on the radio station, and I was a journalist for pop culture. And I had to watch all the new releases in the cinema. It was my favorite job of all times. It was pretty awesome. I was 18, and I got to see all the films released. And then, I was writing the reviews. And I saw, after like a couple of years of that the thing is, we watch these movies, like either it's a drama or, it's either an independent film or it doesn't even matter, even if it's a thriller or a comedy. What we love is to put things together, to connect the dots ourselves. The more it is not so evident, you don't want the hero, you don't want the woman to just call, on the phone and say, hey, mom, how are you doing? So my brother's coming to visit. Yeah, and he's really stressed. He has this thing going and la la la. And then the brother comes in and, he's obviously showing signs of stress and he repeats the whole thing. It just doesn't interest you. Like, you're like, all right, and then you start focusing maybe on some other things. So the thing is, the more you have to kind of detect what's going on yourself, and the better the clues are for you to be able to detect those things, the happier you become. And the more exciting the film seems to be, the story. The more you're like, wow, yeah, I got that. I get it. I understand. Did you see? And then you explain to your friends, like, hey, I saw this film and it had really great plot and there was this and there was that. So basically you're kind of like, telling them about this great vacation, things that you explored and discovered. And I think that this is very important when it comes to public speaking, letting people discover for themselves, to see, to go into the story so deep that they have to connect a couple of dots themselves. Make sure that you take out a lot of the narration that you're doing, because the more you give them the content, the less they will have to do, the less work they have to do themselves. And then it's just lazy brain, like, yeah, just do all the work for me. Yeah, okay, next. So this is why it's really important to have a lot of dialogue in the talk and not so much narration.
Ladies and gentlemen, today I'm a dreamer, I'm a speaker, and I learned the unfailing quality of unconditional love from my wife. I was broken, and I've been broken, lost, and broke many times in my life.
So I guess it is the unconditional love of his wife that is the final win, the greatest win of all. So, starting with being broken, in the sense of you're in jail, you got yourself arrested, no one loves you, they just want to throw you away, to like getting a job, getting a dream, getting a job, getting a vocation, and then realizing all those things, to the end where you're actually happy, you're loved, you are seen by someone as who you are unconditionally. So yeah, this is really great. It's actually a very simple story, following the structure of the hero's journey very decently, and now using this prop as a beginning and the end. I love props, by the way. Props are the most memorable thing you can have, but it's also, I think, I've seen a couple of props with a couple of other speakers that were also in the competition. And as much as they, I feel the best prop is the one that makes a really huge emotional impact on you. I use this flower trick for one of my workshops that had something completely a different topic to this one. But I used this flower, I broke the flower. And I heard from my coachees that it was a very painful experience. Now, I don't know, maybe I'm like psycho or something, but I did not feel pain when the rose was broken. But some people do. They feel a lot of pain. They feel like, oh my God, you're doing something really painful. Maybe you felt the pain too. I remember there was this video, a TED Talk with Bill Gates when he opened the can of malaria infected mosquitoes. I don't know if you've seen that talk, but he had, under this globe, the glass globe, he supposedly have like, I don't know, 100 malaria infected mosquitoes. And as he was describing, the content of that bottle, he then opened it. And there was this in the audience, in the theater. And then he later told them, no, they are not infected with malaria. They're just normal mosquitoes. But now you see what people in Africa might fear every day of their lives, where the mosquitoes are most dangerous for the dengue fever and stuff like that. Anyway, so yeah, probably don't know much about mosquitoes and malaria. And anyway, so this is like the prop that really creates this huge emotional impact. I think this one is the most effective. And this flower has this element, I believe. It's beautiful, it smells good, and has this charming, gentlemanish, like, flower, oh, such romance and love. And then he goes to the trash and like breaks it and dumps it. And this whole contrast is extremely powerful. And of course, it's unexpected, the unexpected bit that is going to happen now. If you've seen it, you know already what's going to happen now. I've seen it, so I know, but you don't know, so let's watch together.
But the people in my life were able to reach into the trash can and make me whole again.
As if we don't know he has two flowers in there. But to be honest, the first time I saw this video, I was like, oh, how did he do that? But I was like, okay, just put the second rose in there. Yes, I guess it makes sense. But it, like, there's the shock. Like, the flower that he threw in there was broken. And now he, like magically reappears the second flower or the whole flower. Yeah. There were two flowers, Mita. Just get over yourself.
If it was up to me, I would have never been able to do that. And this is why if you have great people in your life, no matter how broke, how lost, or how broken you become, they can piece you back together.
You saw like how lost, how broken, how, unhappy you become. So there's a very, like, these are rules. Every time you count to 3, you will show 3 fingers. And not like this, like that. Every time you would count 3 words, you would say this, this, and this, or 3 emotions, this one, this one, this one. So you always use the anchoring of the space. So you basically use the, sorry, I'm lost for words a little bit. English is not my first language. What is it? God damn it. I can't remember it now. So it's the hologram. Yes. Yeah. Ding, 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 ding. Okay, so it's the hologram. And then you place things in the hologram and you kind of, you here. So it's the hologram of the space, the hologram of the stage. Like even the hologram of the stage had, mother was on this side, father was on that side. I believe father had a couch. I don't know, maybe I saw him sort of in a couch. And then mother had a jail cell and him and his wife had a bed. I saw them in bed, like talking. Why did you marry me? And she said, I don't know. I guess I saw something in you, but I don't know what it was. Anyway, so this anchoring of space, it's really important so our brain can follow the story as it unveils. And I think he had a very nice kind of anchoring. He didn't really do this. What he did is like he made this kind of shape, I think, with on stage, going from the jail to like that center stage and into intimacy. I like that.
Ladies and gentlemen, when I look at you, I see something in you, but I don't know what it is.
What a lovely ending, isn't it? I see something in you, but I don't know what it is. So, ladies and gentlemen, when I look at you, I see something in you, but I don't know what it is. It's like he's calling out, like people are calling out, oh, please see something in us, and please don't know what it is. I want to be just like you. And I am like you. I want what you have. I want a job, a dream, unconditional love. Here's the thing. I believe that these stories, the more they embrace the basic human needs, the need for safety, the need for community, the need for love and connection, the more connected you get to the basic human needs, the less you try to go out of the box and you stay in the perimeter of expectancy, the better your chances, not only of winning, but more like really deeply connecting with the audience. We have to remember that it's about connecting to the multitude of them. Like the stories, sometimes I would hear speakers, my colleagues would say, they're so similar to one another. Sometimes I heard my friend say that just the other day. She said, sometimes I wish that a really unique story with a different structure would actually win. And, going back to my history of being a film critic, obviously we love Stanley Kubrick or David Lynch or, some of the more cult like film directors. And yes, some of these films are actually very successful when it comes to commercial success. However, it's still not for everybody. It's still more like a bit reserved for a specific audience. Flicks like Too Fast and Too Furious, or even like Titanic, the classic love story with a classic history part in it. There's something for everyone there in this film, I believe. And the more you kind of encompass that universal law of basic human emotions, basic human needs, basic subjects that we talk about on a daily basis, such as, do you have a dream? Do you have a fail? Do you have a love? Do you have a friend? Which community you belong to? Your mother, your father, you're growing up, the way you see the world now, the way you see yourself. So in this short talk, I think Dhananjaya actually managed to encompass his whole life in a very, not his whole life, but through the lens of the basic human needs he was after fulfilling. Like, I managed to, start failing very soon. I was 17 and I already was, failing. I didn't know what to do with my life. So I asked my dad, and dad did this. And then I started learning, and, I needed someone to correct my course. So basically this is about the course of life. And I do believe that the more you go into it, the basics, the less detail you give to that story that are yours, personally yours, just belong to you, the better your chances of actually speaking to a very broad audience. And I think this is important because, the higher you go in the competition, probably, I've never been that high, obviously. But I would say I train speakers to speak to either 10 people, or they speak to 100 people, or they speak to 1,000 people, or 2,000 or 5,000. So the larger the audience, the less likely it is that you can connect with them on a very specific, higher level, like lower chunked up detail on a human need. So what you need to do is chunk higher to a more universal umbrella of the big picture of the human need, because the audience is so broad that it's way less likely that you can resonate on a detail. So you can resonate on the big picture, not the tree, the forest. Okay, so I think that this is very important if you want to enter a competition like this one, and if you are thinking about what kind of story to design. There's the hero's journey structure. Okay, so think about this. And then what you can think about is which human needs are you going to incorporate and how? And how are you going to display those emotions as well? How are you going to obviously communicate with the audience and use nonverbal clues and pacing and anchoring and the space? This is all about technique. But just to kind of go into that, what your story will be is very connected to the human needs. Okay, so enough about this. Come to the end. The flower. Oh. I love it. I say, yes, I did it. This is like a cheer to himself. I think he was very happy going off stage. And I am very, very happy too with this first video that I did. Okay, so I promised to myself that it's not going to be edited. I hate editing. It's just too much extra work. And at the end of the day, what I really want to share with you is my authenticity. This is how I'm thinking. This is how I'm doing things. This is who I am. Sometimes I use too many filler words. Sometimes I am too animated. But this is not a speech. This is just like a review of a video that I did in this just one sitting. And I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something great for yourself. And I would very much invite you back to join me for a review of the next video, because my challenge is to review all the winners so I can learn and craft that winning speech for me. Yes, I'm going into the competition. Wish me luck. Yes. Drum roll. My name is Meta Groselj. You can follow me on Future Voices, Shaping Future Voices. You can also check out my webpage if you want to know more about me. If you want to get together with me on a coaching call, there's the Calendly link in the bio of the YouTube channel. You can always book the free 30-minute call. And I wish you the best of luck in your competitions and in your speech writing craft. So thank you for watching to the end. Subscribe if you haven't done so by now yourself. And stay cool, and we'll speak soon. Ciao.